So thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, if you felt it was useful. Now let's get into this. So, just recently announced, I think like literally it's only been like properly announced in the last half hour, that it's official. Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, I believe it's November 21st, fights happening, WBC and IBF world welterweight title. Errol Spence's first fight since the car crash, which I think was last October. I mean, in a time now this year where boxing has just been dead, basically, because we had a couple of fights at the start of the year. We had the Wilder Fury fight, and that's it. That's literally it. We've had nothing but cancelled cards. We haven't had really anything, you know. To get a fight at this magnitude, now they're saying it's in November in, I think, an arena, but will there be fans? Won't there? It's hard to say, you know. I would imagine come what November, you would have some form of crowd. You're not going to get the full crowd probably, but you would have some form, maybe a couple of thousand. But Spence versus Garcia, you know, when Errol Spence had that, but actually prior to Errol Spence having the car crash, he had the fight with Sean Porter in September, and then was set to, well, it was rumoured he was going to take on Danny Garcia in January 2020. Obviously then, fast forward a few weeks later, he has that horrific car accident. I say accident implies there's no one to blame. We both know that's not true. He had that car crash, and when you look at that car crash, how horrific it was. I mean, the fact that the guy was alive is a miracle in of itself. The fact that he's actually competing again is phenomenal, and the fact that his first fight back is against Danny Garcia, not a soft touch, a top 5 welterweight. It's pretty incredible, like when you think about it, you know, that Spence can go through something like that and then come out the other end. Now obviously, I've said this from the start about Errol Spence, and I maintain it. Just because Spence escaped that crash with no injuries, no major injuries, just because, you know, he's back in there against that, just because we're seeing Spence out and about, that doesn't mean there's not residual damage. I mean, this was a very, very violent crash. A very violent crash. And that's a traumatic experience. I mean, for those who haven't seen the video, I encourage you to go and see it. How the man is not more badly damaged is beyond me. You know? I mean, he really did have someone looking over him that night. But having been around, you know, cars for as long as I have, I've been seeing my fair share of accidents, there has to be some residual damage. Has to be. I'd struggle to believe there wasn't some residual damage. I'd seriously struggle. So when they announced this fight with Spence and Garcia, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I did think they would take a softer step. I thought they might take a Lipinets or someone like that as opposed to Danny Garcia, but they've decided to, you know, jump the gun and, you know, go for Danny Garcia versus Spence, which is a good fight. If Spence has 70-80% of what he had before the crash, then I think he should be able to beat Danny Garcia on points. I don't think he'll stop Danny Garcia, but I think he'll be able to beat Danny Garcia on points. I think that Spence will fight this fight the way he fought the Mikey Garcia fight. I think he'll move. I think he'll stay on the back foot. I think he'll just keep this fight at long range. Danny Garcia is exceptional as a back foot counter puncher. He's very good in the back foot. He's a very good counter puncher. He has excellent timing, especially with the left hook. And that left hook is Danny Garcia's best punch. Best punch bar none. Okay? Not the biggest puncher at welterweight, but decent power, but nothing amazing at world level. So Danny Garcia, if Errol Spence just boxes Danny Garcia, he should win this fight. If he starts engaging Danny Garcia, if he starts coming forward and, you know, making himself an easy target for Danny Garcia to hit, that's when we could see Errol Spence having some problems. Because Danny Garcia, he loves it when fighters come at him. When you come at Danny Garcia, when you have to make him go looking for you, that's when he can look pretty poor, because he is quite flat-footed. His feet aren't the quickest in the world. He's not very good in the front foot, Danny Garcia. So if Errol Spence starts coming at Danny Garcia and just, you know, making it so Danny Garcia doesn't have to go looking for him, then he could start coming unstuck. As I said, it would be interesting to see how Spence looks physically and mentally as well, because this is the sparring is one thing, but going in there and getting hit with these, I think they use 8-ounce gloves at welterweight. Be interesting to see how he gets on. Be interesting to see how he gets on. Be interesting to see, has he deteriorated at all from that crash? Because as I said, it was a traumatic experience. So will this be the Errol Spence who fought Mikey Garcia? Will this be the Errol Spence who fought Kell Brook? Do we have that Spence anymore? And again, the Spence who fought Brook was a Spence who was living the life. Once he got that IBF title, that's when we saw Spence having the issues. And say whatever you want to say about Danny Garcia, maybe not being on Spence's level, I've never seen Garcia out of shape. I've never seen it. So, interesting fight. It's a good fight. It's a very good fight. I mean, in a time where all the big fights are getting pushed back, all the big names aren't fighting, to get a fight of this magnitude, I'm happy. I'm super happy with this. PBC, when boxing resumed, and we were getting fights from Top Rank and the Frank Warren cards and the fight camps, a lot of the cards weren't great. On paper, they weren't that strong. The cards that PBC have been putting on, or that will be putting on, I should say, they're strong cards. They're very competitive cards. They're very good cards. So PBC they've been putting in work. They have been putting in work, and I gotta say, it's impressive. So anyway, thoughts on this, Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. Let me know yours in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, of course, if you are new to the channel. Leave a comment in the comment section below what you think of Spence versus Garcia, who you think will win, and you think Spence is going to have some residual trauma. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, of course, if you are new. And as always, people, I will talk to you.